There we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode into the Behavioural Intelligence Forum. We took last week off because it was Easter, and we all have families, and we like to see them on occasion. So it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you back here, guys. We've got another fun topic to bring to you for discussion today. And it's something, and this is me definitely cramming in the fact that it's happening, and I'm really happy about it. It's something that I plucked from my TED talk, so stay tuned for that. had to be said. Had to be said. I'd be a fool if I didn't. But there is this trend almost that is growing amongst those who have, let's say, a need for using more and more technology within their life. And this is technology in visual forms, whether it be social media, whether it be the television, whether it be doom scrolling, and anything that involves this kind of a visual connection towards information. And the notion that comes off it is a kind of behavioral fatigue, like a digital burnout in relation to behavioral fatigue. And the trend is such that constant cognitive input, news, social media, multitasking, this country's moaning, this country's talking about World War III, this much loved celebrities died, all of this constant influx is overwhelming attention spans. But more importantly, it is affecting, as part of the numbers, our ability to regulate our emotions as human beings. Because there is this bang, 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 constant, constant, constant. And there is something that I only saw the other day that makes me concerned for those that use AI platforms, and as a natural byproduct of human communication. Sam Altman, I think his name is, the owner of OpenAI. Let me just close down this program. Sorry, I'm having some bandwidth issues. Just bear with me a moment. Um, the owner of OpenAI has stated that it costs ChatGPT, or whether it's OpenAI, whatever it is, it costs them millions of dollars to indulge pleases and thank yous. Whether it is that people use them, so the AI bot tech, whatever it is, has to respond to it in kind. It's costing them money for you to be polite. And if it is that AI is where you spend a lot of your day, you live there, work there, use it, whatever, there is a habitual connection to a lack of manners, one of these basic human parts of communication. And don't get me wrong, there's no stats that people are being less and less polite. It's just this idea, and it has me concerned for the future that it is going to kind of embolden the habit for a simple lack of manners. What are your thoughts on this, Bob? Have you heard about it? Are you aware of it happening, aware of it going on?
Well, I think you're aware of it. Every time you go on social media, we're becoming very binary. There is no such thing as qualified arguments. It's either insulting or very narrow-minded from a perspective, and there is no middle ground. And I think certainly, I think it was maybe increased and become more established because of the pandemic and the fact that we became very distant to one another. But social media has taken on a life of its own, and it's not good. It's not good. If you go on YouTube now, you will see they obviously use algorithms to track what you look at, and you'll get content being plastered there. Say at the moment, maybe America, you look at something pro-Trump and you get inundated with videos saying how bad everything else is and how he's doing a great job. But then if you go do a negative Trump one, then you get the opposite. And there is no such thing as reasoned argument anymore,
No.
especially online.
No.
even down to the soccer or football.
Yeah.
Um, you follow a team, and it amazes me. I follow Team Newcastle United,
Mm,
and the manager was lost a few games. So suddenly, he's got to go. He's got to go. Then he wins a few games, and he's the best thing that's ever happened. And it's very binary. There is no middle ground.
mm,
Um, and I think also social media wears you out. I read a report somewhere that the mistakes that are made on social media or on work media because people just their brains get overloaded.
mm.
Um, but I suppose that is why ChatGPT and Copilot and that are so popular because they replace thinking, don't they? You just put in an idea and it comes up with something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's one of the foundational parts about of my talk that I'm worried about is um, how many of our human processes are we going to serve up for some other thing to do it for us, right? But
Mm.
hey, Julie's in the building, in the virtual building. Hey, Julie, nice to see you.
I was just speaking to Judy a while ago.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, she's told me to take it easy, so I'm taking it easy, Judy. I'm going to work in a minute.
But connected to two things that you brought up, I found a study published in Frontiers in Psychology. It explores
Uh,
how excessive exposure to information, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, can overwhelm individuals' cognitive capacities. It leads to
mm,
message fatigue, characterized by emotional exhaustion and reduced motivation to process information, which ultimately impairs decision making and increases disengagement. But this one, I mean, the title alone stuck out in my head. The concept of popcorn brain. Popcorn brain refers to a state where constant digital stimulation leads to fragmented attention spans and difficulty focusing. Psychologists explain that the rapid pace of digital media can rewire the brain, making it challenging to engage in slower, more deliberate thought processes. This condition underscores the need for strategies to focus and regain cognitive control. So, what it sounds like we're losing as a result of this connection towards AI en masse is our ability to reason, our ability
mm,
to think critically, whether it be about emotions, facts, or the grey area that exists in between. It is the ability to think rationally about
mm,
information that is lost. And one man's rationale is another man's emotionally charged situation. But it's the consideration for the grey area. I was talking about this on a podcast last night as well. In that, if people are looking to develop some kind of control over their emotions for whatever reason, it's I'm too emotional, I'm too empathetic, I'm too led by feelings, or I'm cold. There's nothing. And either end of the spectrum might have a benefit for you, but humans don't function in that binary way of switching a switch on and off and on and off. It's better to
mm,
think of it in terms of a dial, of dialing up these little areas that we want to work in, which is one of the things that reason and
mm,
compassion and understanding. It's cognitive empathy first. You know,
mm,
yeah.
mm.
I mean, how are you seeing it, especially in your work? How are you seeing it have a knock on effect for humans and their ability to communicate, whether it be online or in person?
I think what we have now is a lot of outsourcing.
Mm,
If we talk about the digital world, we outsource a lot of things. We outsource decision making. We outsource emotional reactions. We outsource thinking, and we look for others to do the thinking for us and see if we agree or not agree with it. So I think it's had a very detrimental effect on human relationships. Um, if you go very sort of down market and you look at things at the moment in the UK, there is an Australian version of Married at First Sight, that great
Yeah.
social experiment, so they call it. And you can see the people, at, when they're interacting with each other, are playing parts that they've probably seen about how they should behave or how they've been taught to behave. Then you go to the program like Adolescence, and it's which is about the child murder thing, and you look at how the internet is affecting youngsters' minds, and there is a process there, and I think we are, for us, for ourselves, it's good because we will get more work because we'll have to teach people how to be communicative and how to build relationships. It's no coincidence that I moved from the investigative world to just the general world of communication because there is a need for it, and
Yeah.
businesses are seeing there's a need for it. And so there's opportunities for people like us, but it's a sad opportunity where people find it difficult to have relationships and to engage in communication because their world is skewed by
Mm.
so much that they see online,
Mm.
and it reduces like I say, the art of conversation and the art of um, influence and listening to other people's point of view, negotiations. It affects so many things that they become very intolerant. The behavior we see online is spilling over into our behavior offline.
When when these kind of worlds meet, it's never a recipe for anything even resembling productivity. And
Mm,
for me, if I had the magic wand, the proverbial element that I could wave my magic wand, and this one element would be brought back, it would be more that people would be comfortable, relatively speaking, with
mm,
with being wrong,
mm,
because that's where a lot of face-to-face conversations fall. It's where a lot of conversations online fall,
mm,
because there's no ability to interpret the data. And it's one of the things that I picked up from watching Neil deGrasse Tyson, of all people. And again, like him or lump him, this point was particularly spot on. He spoke about intellectual laziness, and how
mm,
somebody gave him a crystal that said this crystal cures disease in however many minutes flat. He says it's just as intellectually lazy to accept that as true as it is to go, no, it isn't, because it's a
mm,
crystal. Both are
mm,
intellectually lazy. It is it
mm,
is exploring for the nuance and more data. Is it just on this day of the week? Does it need warm conditions, or is it just a particular kind of these types of notions? Whereas
mm.
when somebody is conversing with somebody else, you have to be comfortable with the fact that you might be wrong. You know.
Exactly right. And funny, it's going off a bit of a tangent, but I last week I saw a film called The Amateur, um,
Heard of it? I've
and
not.
and it's very good because it is a Jason Bourne film without the violence. So the guy who's the premise of it is he's a computer engineer
Right.
who suffers a loss and then goes after the people who, but all of his killing is by remote rather than in person. And in fact, the guy at the end says to him, "You can't kill face to face. You have to do it." And he does. And it's quite a deep thought when you think about it, that that is the someone with the skills that are all computer based taking it into real life. But he was an amateur, so he couldn't do
Mm,
what these people do, but he could do it, and he could be removed from it by
mm,
doing it that way. And I think, although that that's quite an analogy for where we are. If you see people's behaviour online, it is like in the old days, it was driving a car. People would get upset and become very angry driving car. But online, we don't seem to have anything holding us back from what we say because there's no one there to judge us, and we can say it from that safety of
yeah.
away. And when that starts to get into the workplace, even in not even face to face, when people, and you see it, I see it with a company I'm working with at the moment. When I first worked for them, I went back to speak to someone and I saw his boss, and he's in the next room. These people are all in the next room, and the boss is in his office. And I says, "Can I speak to someone?" And he said, "Oh, I'll email him." And he's sitting next to him in the next office, and it's that remoteness, isn't it? It's even coming into business. People will email each other rather than speak to one another.
Yeah.
And I think if you're doing that, what you're doing is you're reducing the human contact, which is the opportunity to get new ideas.
Hmm.
You're just going with binary decisions with no sort of input from humans. And the great thing about human beings, one of the reasons we've advanced so much is because we discuss things and we listen to other people's opinions, and we don't seem to do that.
Yeah.
Very rarely and infrequently do that now.
Yeah, and it's baffling as to why. Julie says, "Being wrong is how you learn." It's
Oh,
it's
exactly.
it's 100% right. I wonder if Edison were kind of coming towards his ingenuity nowadays, would he have thought of the old adage of 200 ways not to make a light bulb before he did it? If he'd
Mm,
have just asked ChatGPT about how to do it,
mm.
the benefit of a number of things is in the struggle to find the way that it works. It's
Yeah.
this. You know what it might be. It might be, and I'm kind of risking sounding like the kind of old man ranting about technology, but it might be the allure of convenience.
Mm.
In terms of things are easier, so I can do X. I
Yeah.
haven't got to do this, so I can. That kind of
Yeah.
it's a slippery slope, isn't it? And we're seeing how
Oh,
it's
yeah.
affecting our ability to think. One of these studies that I found, it was research from Norway, indicates that doom scrolling, just the habitual
Yeah.
scrolling through a content, but there's specifically the consumption of negative online content, significantly heightens the risk of mental health issues. Just 1 hour
Mm.
of screen time before bed can increase the likelihood of insomnia and poor sleep by 59%.
Mm.
Moreover, individuals who engage in doom scrolling are 12 times more likely to suffer from serious mental health problems and 10 times more likely to experience physical symptoms like fatigue and headaches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a well-known fact that the brain is lazy.
Yeah,
And we're always looking for mental shortcuts, and that's
yeah,
probably where the internet scores, is it provides us with that easy access. We don't have to go and look things up in a book anymore. It's instantly there, and we outsource it. Like I say, it is certainly affecting, and probably won't see how it's affected us and for a few generations yet.
mm,
For the digital natives, as they call them. And they are, you get these digital natives, and they're about the age where they do a lot of hospitality work and that type of thing.
yeah,
And I know from people who work in that industry say they're hard work.
yeah.
So, they can do their job, but to get them to sort of do the customer friendly side of it, they find it hard to do.
100%, 100%. And like please, for those people who are positive consumers of tech, or
Mm.
use it in an effective manner, we're by no means saying don't. It's just how you use
Yeah,
the tools that are in front of you that are the issue. Like, if you take any what do they call them, an AI prompt, if you take any AI prompt, the that service is only as good as the prompt that you give it. So if you
yeah,
don't have the ability to think through, pulling my
yeah,
own glasses off, if you don't have the ability to think through what it is that you want the service to do for you, it's not going to be able to
no,
to figure out the nuance, because at the minute, these services can't reason like a human can. You know,
no,
they can't see through the black and white nature. So that's the kind of slippery slope of it. So all we're really saying is just be careful.
yeah.
Not as in like a danger warning. Just watch how you are consuming your technology use. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I use the AI prompts. I use Copilot, and you put ideas into it, but it's the ideas are mine, and then it will come up with something which, but I would say maybe 6 times out of 10 is usable as a prompt to then start thinking about what I'm going to do. But you have to be careful. In fact, there has been warnings about trusting GPT, chat GPT, because it may be stealing your ideas anyway, and et cetera, et cetera. But I think as a support, they're good. If they're used in the right way, they're good. And this is the thing. But what I have noticed, and I think I did read that it does this, but I've noticed now that Copilot seems to know me. And when I say to it, give me an idea, it sort of writes it like I write it, which is a bit spooky. So it's obviously learning. It's learning AI, and it
Yeah.
learns to the person it's serving, if you want to put it that way, which is not far removed from having original thought itself. But I think we're way away from that. But it is spooky, and it does creep up on you. And I think both of us are skeptical enough to have lived without it to be able to manage the thought of using it. But I fear for people who've been brought up with it and know no other ways. And I'd
Yeah.
probably be very worried if I was a publisher of books and things, because I don't know what the take up of books is. I think there is a bit of a backlash, and there are a lot of people who are reading more because of it.
Mm,
But we're sourcing all of our stuff from a machine.
mm, mm. Yeah. I mean,
And,
like,
that did, and Arnie didn't like that, did he?
no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Not one bit. Um, uh, there's a few things that kind of bother me about it, and it's only out of concern for the behaviorist in me,
Mm,
and it's like when I first started learning magic tricks, it would be
mm.
no sleight of hand, no memory work, gimmick does all the work for you. Well, what's the point then?
Yeah,
I'm not a
yeah,
magician, just a likable guy that knows where to shop. You know,
yeah,
and
yeah. That's it.
that's the kind of trade-off, is it? Using these in ways that they will support what you do, awesome.
Mm,
Using them in ways that replace your human elements for rational thought, and the positive and a negative side of emotion and convenience. Like,
mm,
with you mentioning about books, I heard one of my son's friends recently, because they're getting ready to go to university, so it's exams, it's that kind of period, and they were talking about the books that they have to read, and one of them said, I wish they had audiobooks because I can't concentrate for long enough while I'm reading. I'm like, well, it's the same text. It's the same text. So does it come down to a learning style, or does it just come down to a tech affinity? And
mm.
I
Yeah,
asked the question, I explored about the learning styles angle, because I'm a dork, I'm curious, I'll get involved. And
mm.
he didn't really require the audio input in order to learn. He just wanted to put his headphones in so he could shut the world out. That's it.
Yeah,
That's all he wanted
yeah,
to do, right? Which is
yeah.
fine. But that nature of how people rationalize their capacity to learn because they've
Mm.
been brought up not reading books, and it's not this, librarian kind of approach. Books are awesome, but it's how you ingest information that's the
Yeah,
struggle.
yeah. And also, I don't know whether that's an age thing or whatever, but the actual having a book,
Yeah.
feel of a book and the art of reading is very good. I find it, especially with workbooks now. I do listen to audiobooks and I listen to podcasts, and
Yeah.
even on Spotify, they've obviously caught on to that because they now
Yeah.
have a lot of business type books on there. And they're great,
Mm.
because you can read, you can use them. But I still like to read. I like to read
Yeah.
novels. And maybe it's again, being older, you could shut out the world and read a book. There's nothing like sitting down with a nice cup of coffee and just reading a few chapters of a book, especially on holiday or something like that. It's just some of the best moments and,
It's glorious.
memorable moments.
Yeah, glorious.
Um, the good thing about any book is, especially a fictional book, is that you create the scenes in your head, and that is a good way of thinking. That because we do predominantly think in pictures, and we attach meaning to those pictures, and so books do work. And I think we're losing it if people start not
Yeah,
reading.
100%. 100%. So, our kind of Jerry Springer's final thoughts would be nurture your capacity for critical thinking, lean into the challenge a little bit more, uh, uh, be aware of the lure of convenience, and
Mm.
you are a thinking, breathing, talking, moving human being. How much do you really need to offset towards devices to do these aspects for you? Right? Are
Mm.
you thinking more about how many steps it says on the step counter, or the 5K run that you should be doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I
That
think
that
my fi-
right.
I think my final thought would be try to relearn the art of communicating differently to someone else's thoughts rather than getting in antagonistic,
Mm.
uh, threatening
Yeah,
type language. Learn that you can have that, understand that people can have differing views to you
yeah,
because their view of the world is going to be different to yours. That doesn't make them wrong or right.
yeah,
It just means that we should listen to them. And then we can maybe put forward counter arguments in a nice way rather than getting antagonistic and he's crap this week, but he'd be great again next week.
exactly, exactly. As uh, where is he? Sherlock Holmes is so fond of saying, emotional qualities are antagonistic to clear reasoning.
Yeah,
So, with that in mind, folks, we shall love you and leave you. Nice to see you again. Thanks for stopping by, Julie, and we'll see you all again soon. All right, guys.
yeah.